Okay, now you've got your fish drawn out. I've just traced my fish through onto the paper here. I don't know whether you can see it. We're going to start to apply colour, and I'm working on my knees here, so it may move around a little bit. I'm using these Faber-Castell pencils that I was given very kindly by one of my students recently, and you can see there's a wide range of colours. They all have numbers on them, so I will read out the numbers to you as I go along. Keep them sharp. If you don't have this range of colours, then you can mix them. I think I did a pencil tutorial a while ago and I showed you how to mix them, but I'll go over that again today. Alright, so what we're looking for initially is a sort of yellow ochre raw sienna colour. This one is a, let me just twist that around, 383 number. That one's quite good. There's a gold there, but I don't really want a gold just yet. That's more of a yellow ochre, yellowy, sitting on the yellow side, so I might use a bit of that. And then I've got a brown here. This is a 387. I think I'll probably stick with those for now. The yellow is a 309. Okay, so you want to start with the lighter tones first, really. Okay, so we're just going to look at the fish and start to colour. Now his tail is orange, but the majority of the body, including what's underneath the black scales, is a sort of yellow ochre colour. So just lightly shade, and if you can shade with the contour of the body would be slightly oval. So if you can put a curve into your shading marks, then all the better. We've got a slightly lighter patch on the belly of the perch, so I'm just going to leave a little bit of colour showing through all the way down to his mouth. The majority of the area around the eye is this colour too. Again, if you can shade in the direction of the shape of the fish, then all the better. The mouth is quite that colour too. So we're trying to block it out really, using those shapes to inform us of the structure of the fish. So rather than shading across, that's what I'm saying, shade in this sort of oval using a curved mark. Now if you don't want to use pencil, you could use watercolour or acrylic to do this with, but obviously I'm working on a piece of white card here. If you wanted a colour, then you could work on a coloured piece of card, but you have to assess what and how the colours of the pencil would, how it would sit on top. So for example, if you were using a blue card or paper, then you might have to use more of a yellow colour on top of the blue for this to stand out. And if you're using watercolour, then use light to dark theory and start off with your lighter shades first, moving through to the darker shades, and then if you lose any shades, then you can always reintroduce them using some gouache. With acrylic you can do the same thing, but you don't have to use gouache. You can just work on, all you have to do is wait for acrylic to dry, and then you can work over the top if you make a mistake. So there we have our yellow ochre colour. Like I said, I'm just going to leave a little sort of graduated, so slightly lighter here down to the stomach area, just slightly lighter just on the underneath there. We might put a little bit of grey in there later. Okay, and I want to take the darker brown and just put in quickly, before we lose it completely, the gill shape. And the gill comes down there, and we have a little bit more brown around the eyes, like this, and just keep adding marks. I mean, you can use my excuse me, my picture, or you can download an image from the internet of your own chosen fish. You don't have to do a perch. If you don't like perch, you can do something else. There's the other fin, and the other fin's coming up here. Now the perch has these lovely radiating, almost fan-like fins, which they present at certain times. They're not always up like this. So whether they're fighting or mating or whatever they're doing, they present these fins, which are really beautiful. And then the tail is orange, and the lower fins are orange. The upper fins tend to be a bit of orange and brown. So we've got this other yellow here, and you're sort of saying, where would we put that? So to bring a little bit of colour into the tail area, just again radiating out in almost like a fan shape, just add a little bit of yellow there. That'll help assist with the graduation going into the orange. Maybe around the gill area we can just put a little bit of yellow, just to again lift the gill away from the body of the fish. And then I would just put little suggestions of colour in just here and there, and again that'll just give you another layer of texture and colour to this fish. Okay, so next I'm going to actually just bring out a few of, I'm hoping that you can see this, is it, should we put this a bit closer? Right, okay, now, okay, so into the eye, I'm just going to outline the eye so that I don't lose it again. So into the eye, you can do the center of the eye, the pupil and the iris, leave a little dot. You see how that comes to life almost immediately. It's quite incredible what an eye does to a face. Now some of the fish will be black, but if you don't like using black, a lot of people don't like using black, you can use dark browns, blues. Black can be a bit flat at times, but if you've got a good quality pencil, then you should be okay. So the black comes down here almost to where the gill joins to the head. Now we've got these complicated scale patterns, and I'm going to do a few, but then I'm going to put it on time lapse, okay, because I don't want to have to do all of the scales slowly. I'm just going to put a line on this fin here so I don't go over the fin with the scales, just to remind me where I am. So I'm going to do a little bit and then I will show you how to do the fins, and then I'll put it on time lapse so you can watch me finish it. Okay, so literally just your what they call negative painting. So you're picking out those scale shapes and you're drawing them in. Okay, leaving the colour that is underneath behind. And as you come down the tail here, you can see that the scales change shape a little as they go away and up the tail, but also like there, and then they start getting a bit paler. So what you want to do is just use your pencil a little bit lighter as you come down, and you can see that they go up as well, so you'll have half scales that are black and half golden colour. So it goes into this pattern here, and so on. The ones lower down, you can either take a yellow ochre or a brown, or even just the same colour as what you've done underneath, and just put those in like that. Okay, so that's how you do your scales. I'm going to take this brown that we used earlier on for outlining the eye, 387, and I'm going to use that to do the fins. I'm just going to do a little bit of fin again, and then you can watch it on time lapse. So it goes up and into a point. So this is where you need sharp pencils, okay? Make sure that you have a nice point on your pencil so that you can put that point in and for it not to be blunt. Make sure you colour into the body of the fish. And then in between there's a lighter, what we say a lighter tone, but it's a darker brown. So I'm going to use a dark brown. I'm also going to take some orange and put some orange into this colour here. Oops. So into and on top of, you can put some orange like this in places. Slipping around on my knees. And then in between those very fierce looking spikes, you've got this very pale brown colour. So just use your pencil really lightly because you want it to be almost see-through, transparent. Okay, so that's how you do fins. And then we've got orange lower fins here, and again just block that in but using the direction of the way the fin drops, like that. So slight curved mark away from the body, like that. Okay, and you can put either a darker tone of red or a lighter tone of orange or yellow into that fin, especially against the body, just to bring out a little bit of structure to that fin. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest. I'm going to put it on time lapse so you can see it build up, and hopefully it won't slip too far down my knees. All right, like I said, if you want to use pen or watercolor, then go ahead. Just, I think the main object is to get the drawing right, and then just think very carefully about how heavy you press with your pencils in certain areas to get light and dark areas, light and dark tones. Use the shape of the form to guide you when you're putting your pencil line down. Okay, and let's see how this turns out. Okay, time lapse will be in a minute.